Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn at Work session about healthy herbs and how you can use fresh or dried herbs to add lots of flavor to your foods. This program was originally created in collaboration with Alice Henneman and Sarah Browning from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Take a look at this baked potato. On the left, you see the baked potato with a sour cream, but on the right, doesn't it look more appealing when you have just a sprinkling of fresh chives added to the potato? And how about on your egg salad sandwich? Certainly the one on the right looks a little bit more interesting and more delectable than the one on the left. And same thing for your carrot soup. A sprinkling of chives adds some color and texture to your favorite recipes. Herbs can also add a pop of color and flavor, especially when you're using fruit, and have some nice fresh mint added for decoration, but it also tastes good too. You can add flavor to your spinach, which with some fresh chive flowerets. Yes, they're edible, and don't they look so pretty on that spinach? There are health benefits associated with herbs too, and that's so important. You can cut down on the amount of salt, fat, and sugar on so many of your favorite recipes by using more herbs in place. Herbs add a little bit of a zing to a recipe, some more texture, and lots of flavor, and even some micronutrients. Herbs provide antioxidants in small amounts that can help protect you from disease, such as cancers and heart disease. That's another good reason to use herbs in your recipes. In the late spring, farmers markets have lots of fresh herbs available that you can easily grow in a pot on your front step or back step, on your deck, or even out in your yard. For example, the picture here of basil, very easy to grow, and you keep snipping it back to use it in your recipes, and it just keeps growing and growing. It's a wonderful type of thing to grow in some pots. How about cooking with herbs? Have you ever tried that? Let's start by picking those herbs in the morning, preferably, before the sun sort of wilts them and gets them dried up. So pick them in the morning for the best results. And then you can store them in an open or perforated plastic bag. So you can poke holes in a plastic bag and store them in a refrigerator crisper drawer for just a few days. Let's start by rinsing the herbs under cool running water just before using them, and make the water flow kind of gentle so we don't crush our herbs as we prepare them. You can dry them in a salad spinner, or you can take some paper towels and just pat them dry between the layers of the paper towels. Chives, for example, are so easy to work with, and they are so easy to grow. They are perennial in most parts of our country. So if you start a pot of herbs on your step in the back in a sunny location, you'll have them for several years. So let's use our chives now. I use kitchen shears when I want to cut my chives because it's just the easier way to do it. Just make sure that you don't cut to your fingers. We don't need to get hurt when we're trying to prepare one of our favorite recipes. So you can use scissors that are used just for kitchen and just for food. Or you could cut them in little bundles, grab them together as you do here see in the picture, put them on a cutting board, and then cut them with a sharp knife. Again, be really careful of those fingers. Cilantro, parsley, and other small leaved herbs are very delicate. And what you want to do is remove those leaves from the stem and rinse them, dry them. You want to put them on your cutting board and just rock a sharp knife gently over them, and these herbs will cut very, very easily. If you cut them into pieces and then you want to cut them into smaller pieces, just gather up the leaves again and put them in another little pile and cut them one more time to get into smaller pieces. With thyme, oregano, rosemary, tarragon, and other sturdy stem small leaf herbs, what we want to do is hold the herb stem, as you see in the picture, and then take your index finger and your thumb and run in the opposite direction of how the stem leaves are growing, and you will see that those leaves will just pop right off. It's the easiest way to take care of your hardy stemmed herbs. Mint, basil, sage, and other large leafy herbs, what we can do is a technique called chiffonade. The word is much more difficult sounding than it truly is. All you need to do is take a stack of about 5 or 6 leaves and then roll them up nice and tightly and then cut them into little strips. And you'll get these beautiful long strips of your herb. As you see here with basil, it just makes a beautiful addition on top of the dish. You'll get some really cute ribbons that you can use. The general rule of thumb when using fresh herbs or dried herbs is to use about 3 times as much when you're using fresh as dried. So that's something simple to remember. You can use dried herbs whenever you like or fresh, but you want to use more of the fresh to equal the amount of the dried. The more delicate herbs need to be added just right before the food is finished cooking, just a minute or two before the end of the cooking process, or you can even sprinkle the herbs on food just before serving, as we saw in our carrot soup. So your delicate herbs are basil, chives, cilantro, dill leaves, mint, and parsley. Add these at the end of cooking or even after the cooking is done. A pizza just wouldn't be the same with dried basil versus some nice fresh basil on top of your pizza. It looks delicious, it adds some color, and it adds a wonderful pop of flavor. Less delicate herbs can be added about 20 minutes before the end of the cooking process. These less delicate herbs would be oregano, rosemary, sage, and thyme. How about some quick recipe ideas using your herbs? This one is so simple. A simple tomato basil bruschetta is using fresh tomatoes when they're in season, fresh basil, and some chopped up onion. You can also add some chopped up fresh garlic as well, and put that on a crustina or a toasted bread for a wonderful appetizer. People always love that. Pesto, one of my favorites, is made with basil. If you take basil leaves and add some garlic, a little bit of salt and pepper, and olive oil, you can make a wonderful pesto that can be added to pasta. Sometimes I'll put it over my pizza dough and then add some roasted veggies to the top. But there's so many wonderful uses for a nice pesto, and you can make it so fresh using some nice basil that you've grown in your own garden. How about rosemary roasted potatoes? Everybody's familiar with them. Such a special treat, and we see this so often out on menus or at buffets. Simply add a little bit of rosemary to your potatoes for a wonderful taste. And when you're making stuffing next time, use some sage or thyme to help to add some flavor to your stuffing. How about this salmon with a dill sauce? Isn't that appealing? Dill is pretty easy to grow, and you can also buy some fresh in your supermarket just about any time of the year and rinse it, snip it on top of your cucumbers or add it to your sauce, and it looks beautiful and has a really nice taste as well. In a salsa, cilantro is a key ingredient. Cilantro has a very unique taste. It looks a lot like parsley, but it has a little bit of a different taste from parsley. Cilantro adds all the zip that your salsa needs. How about tarragon? Tarragon leaves are pretty easy to grow as well, and it looks so nice on this egg dish. Oregano. I don't think I could cook without oregano, but it's very often used in Italian cooking. It pairs very, very well with tomatoes, so you can get a wonderful tomato sauce flavor with a little bit of oregano. Herbs are the friends of physician and the praise of cooks. And what that means is there are micronutrients in your herbs, so please use them and use them in place of additional salt, sugar, and fat because They add so much wonderful flavor, and that's why they are the praise of cooks. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. We've enjoyed presenting it to you. There are lots of resources available, so please take advantage of them. Have a nice day.